Nothing went as planned. Absolutely nothing. Everything was a mess. It was a nightmare. How did I get there? How did we get there? I'll tell you in a bit. Hi, my name is Filipina and welcome to Music Vlog. Minya Saput Filipina. Today we're talking about my labor and delivery. But before then, if you haven't watched my previous video on my pregnancy journey, please do so. I'll link it up here for you so you can quickly pause this one, go watch that one, and then come back. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos I post. Don't forget to like, comment, share our videos. Now, let's go into today's video. Davai. Monday around midnight, I was sleeping peacefully. Then I was jolted awake, right? Because I felt I was peeing myself, like a grown-up like me, peeing in my pants, like how? And the whole of the pregnancy, I hadn't experienced any leakages. You know, some people say when they're pregnant, they sneeze, they pee. When they cough, they pee. When they laugh, they pee. No, I hadn't experienced that. So it was also surprising. Like, why am I peeing on myself? So I got up and immediately my feet touched the ground. Gosh, 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 water. I was like, what is going on? I quickly went to the washroom, sat on the WC, peed, you know, I peed. So I'm like, okay, so it was just pee. I got up from the WC and gosh, again, water. So at that point, I was thinking, okay, this might not be pee. This might not be urine. But two things you can do to check if you're actually peeing yourself or your water has broken. That's the amniotic fluid is leaking. So I tried those two first. Whilst the liquid is coming out of you, you can try to hold it. Like how you would hold your pee. I hope I'm making sense. For the females, I know you get me. Like sometimes we hold our pee, like, you know, squeeze yourself or something. Yes, so if you can hold it, then it's pee. It's possibly pee. But if you can't, if you have no control of the fluid coming out, then it's likely your water is broken. So I tried that and the water was still gushing, which means I couldn't control it. Then another thing is you can try smelling the liquid. You see, urine has this urea smell, but the amniotic fluid doesn't have that kind of smell. It doesn't smell like pee. So I tried that as well. It didn't smell like pee. At that point, I was certain it was not urine. So it was the amniotic fluid. My water had broken. But the surprising thing at that moment was that I was not in pain. I was not feeling any contractions. So I said, no, I'm not going to wake anybody up. I'm just going to wait till I feel a bit of pain, which will indicate that I am in labor. So I tried going back to bed. The way the water was gushing out of me into the sanitary pad, no. So I quickly went into my mom's room and I woke her up. I'm like, at that point, I thought the water in around the baby was going to get finished. So I was just like, the way the water is coming out of me, the water around the baby will finish. So that's why I went to my mom and I woke her up. I'm like, my water broke. She was like, are you feeling any pain? I said no. She was like, okay, but regardless, go wake your husband up. So I went, woke him up. I told him what was going on. Then the moment of truth, the moment of unplanned consequences, the moment of the consequences of my actions came. Immediately we had to go to the hospital, right? Because I was leaking. And the next question was, get your bag, let's go. My people, I had not packed my hospital bag. packed my hospital bag. I had everything, right? At that point, I had everything. Now, this is why I hadn't packed my hospital bag. Because Happy was traveling to the UK, I made some purchases there as well. And he also bought some things from there. So I was waiting for him to return, and then I would pack my things. Actually, on Tuesday, I was going to be 38 weeks pregnant. So I planned on packing my hospital bag on Tuesday. And then Monday midnight, my water broke. So I hadn't packed the bag, but I had the stuff. Now another chaotic scene. There was light out. Even though we have solar, that day the solar inverter, the inverter or whatnot had an issue. So there was no light in the house. I had to pack my stuff at dawn. No lights. Water gushing. Everyone going crazy. It was a sight to behold, my people. So I started packing the hospital bag with the torch lights of my phone. Yes. So I wasn't even taking off labels. I was just throwing things into the suitcase. That wasn't the suitcase I even wanted to take to the hospital. The situation demanded that I act quickly. So throwing baby stuff into one suitcase, my mom was throwing my stuff into another bag. It was chaotic. I ended up leaving quite a number of things I would need at home. Please, if you're watching this and you are 37, 36, 38 weeks pregnant, please pack your hospital bag. Pack your hospital bag. This is a message. Pack your hospital bag. Because if you don't, the chaos, the panic, it's incredible. Take it from someone who has lived through the nightmare. So when I got to the hospital, I was told, okay, we need to check, we need to verify if it's really amniotic fluid or you are just peeing, right? It's just urine. The journey of bringing a beautiful baby into the world, I think every stage of it is quite painful. Just to check if it was amniotic fluid or pee, there was this syringe that they had to insert into me. It was painful. That's all I can say. So it was inserted and fluid was drawn and tested it, and it was amniotic fluid. So then she was like, okay, so it is amniotic fluid. You can't go home now. We have to keep you here. She checked my cervix and I was 0 dilated. 0. Meaning my cervix, no dilation at all, 0. All right. And then that was me at the hospital, alone, no contractions. Like, what is happening? Lying down, and I went with my book. Remember the book I told you a friend gave me? Yes. So what to expect when you're expecting. So even in the hospital, I was reading and finding out what will be the next steps, what's happening, and I was googling things back and forth, like how to move along labor. So the doctors came in the following morning. Why do I keep saying following morning? It wasn't followed. It was just a few hours later, and then it was morning. So when he came, he said, okay, what was the birth plan? I said it was vaginal delivery plus no epidural. He said, okay, so since I'm planning on a vaginal delivery, then we're going to give me about 24 hours to go into labor myself. Like, just leave the body to do its thing. If it doesn't happen, then in the next 24 hours I'll be induced so that contractions can begin. So I said, yeah, good plan, let's do that. So the whole of Tuesday, I was in the hospital, lying, sitting, walking. Nothing happened. So in the morning at that point, the doctor checked, I was 0 centimeters dilated. 0. So interestingly, at this time I was eating like my life depended on it. Beginning to be worried, like what's happening? No contractions still. I was in the labor ward, and oh, thank goodness for the hospital, Oaks Specialist Hospital. If you are in and around Kumasi, it's the hospital to be in. This is no advertisement or whatever, but I'm in love with the hospital. So there you go. So the labor ward was the labor ward was quite comfortable. I was doing Instagram videos, just anything to take my mind off the fact that contractions hadn't started yet, and I was getting worried. So I was there around 12 midnight, almost the next day, which was Wednesday, and my doctor came in and he said, any contractions? I'm like, no, but I'm sort of feeling something. And it's like, okay, let's see what the morning brings, and if nothing occurs, then we're going to induce. I said, okay. I'm like, let me do this. So I got up, I was dancing. I wanted contractions to start so that I know I'm in labor. Like, so I did everything, it didn't happen. I went to bed. I couldn't sleep much. Woke up not the following morning. A few hours later, the doctor came in. So for those who don't know what induction is just like hurrying on contractions or bringing along contractions. The hormone that causes contraction, I think that's oxytocin. Yes, oxytocin. So immediately I got the pill, the contraction started. So before the pill was given to me, the doctor checked my cervix again, and this time I was 1 centimeter dilated. I'll put a picture here on so you see where I needed to be. I was 1 centimeter, I needed to be at 10 centimeters so I could deliver. When the contractions started, so I was excited. I'm like, oh, the way the contractions are going, in some few hours, baby will drop. Unfortunately, I couldn't walk around because they wanted to monitor the baby's heartbeat and mine as well. So I got 2 belts. My mother said I was more than a boxer or a wrestler because I had 2 title belts. So I got 2 belts, and then the baby's heart and my heartbeats were being monitored. Even though I had started having the contractions and they were painful, they were bearable. So I was making fun of my family. My mom was looking so grim, like there was a weight on her shoulders. And I was taking videos of them. Sing the song. One of our friends said that I was going to deliver on 28th. He said this way before. I think when I was at 5 months, that was when he predicted, because my due date was 11 July, but he predicted I was going to give birth on 28th June. And that day was 28th June. You know? Prophecy And at that point, I told my family members that when it got tough, like when it gets tough, take videos of me. I want to see myself in action. However, when it got tough, my family members said they felt so much pity for me. They couldn't take any pictures. They couldn't take any videos. Can you believe that? So I have no videos of myself in pain. I wanted to see that. After a whole day, it was about 12 or 1 that the doctor came to check, I was 2 centimeters dilated. Just 2. I needed to be 10 and I was at 2. So now it wasn't looking promising, you know. From that 12 to 4, I have not known pain in my life like those 4 hours. So I had heard that, you know, when you're induced, it's more painful than the normal labor, the normal contractions and all that. That was when I started to believe this was going to be tough. Now, the contractions in themselves were not, yes, they were painful, but what made them unbearable was the, you know, frequency and the interval between one contraction and the next was not enough for me to catch my breath. So one contraction hits, like whilst it's subsided, I'm thinking, finally another one is coming. The pain was out of this world. Out of this world. At a point, I'm like, I want the epidural. I want the epidural. I'm like, have you go and call the doctor for me. I'm taking the epidural, even though we discussed it and I told my doctor I didn't want it. I'm like, I'm taking it. Go and call him for me. So it's a pain management. It's just an injection into your epidural space. The doctors know best. So the doctor will come with the anesthesiologist and they will be by my bed, and then my doctor will ask, do you want it? We're here. Then I'll say no. So I was just disturbing them, but it wasn't my fault. The pain was taking my breath away, literally. So at 4 o'clock, the doctor came back, checked again, and that check-in is painful. At some point, he would press the top of my belly, you know, just push it down. Guess what? I was still 2 centimeters dilated, only 2, and we needed 10. So at that point, he told my husband, I'll be back at 6. If at that time the labor is not progressing, she's still at 2, we should think about a cesarean delivery. So I was like, why not now? At 4 o'clock, I'm like, why not now? Just take the baby out now, because I was in so much pain. But people, from 4 to 6, I didn't think I could make it. The pain was back to back. It was so much for me to bear. At a point I started weeping. 4 to 6 was tough. I was weeping. Now, nobody wanted to stay in the room with me because they couldn't handle it. My mom, my sister, my husband, they were outside. I was in the room with my midwife. At the point I kept repeating, I'm dying. I wasn't dying. So at 6, the doctor came back, he checked, and I was still 2 centimeters dilated. So at that point, they had to acknowledge that the induction failed, labor was not progressing, so I was scheduled for an emergency cesarean delivery right then. So we went about signing papers. I couldn't even sign. I was in so much pain signing papers. For what? Just let me go and do the thing. When I come back, let me sign papers. But, you know, requirements are requirements. At that point, I was telling my husband, please let them tie my tubes. The midwife was like, no, at this point, you cannot request for that because we will assume it's the pain. Okay? Everybody in that hospital is nice. Goodness. Nurses, doctors, midwives. He came, he was so soothing. Like, don't worry. After I put this in your back, you're not going to feel anything anymore. I'm like, go ahead. So I sat on the table. He said, don't move. You're going to feel a tiny pinch, don't move. So I felt the pinch, and then relief. I wasn't feeling the pain anymore. I was so stoked. They put a catheter in to collect urine, and then the procedure began. So at that point, Habi was allowed in, came to stand by my side. We were chatting. There was an original song playing in the background. So peaceful. Guys, in less than 15 minutes, baby was out. After all the struggles, all the pain, 9 months of, So help me welcome Nana Kweku Brefo, born 28th June 2023 at 2.7 kg. So we're taking him to the other side. So he was taken away, and then I was closed up. At a point, I'd be singing along. At a point, I was so exhausted. I was so tired. Habi and I were doing photo shoots when they were closing me back up, and then the whole procedure was done. I was taken to the recovery room. And I checked on baby. Everything was fine, and baby came out screaming. That boy was disturbing us all through the night. I had a companion in the recovery room, a lovely lady herself. So we had a good chat. We were chatting throughout. Now this baby was, sucking on the tubes that was bringing oxygen to him as if it was a pacifier. He was sucking on the tubes. That boy came to eat. Period. Midwives assisted me, went to the room, and life started, guys. Postpartum. So baby was a bit fuzzy, and the policy at Oaks is that all babies delivered through C-section, they really check up on them. So they were really checking on baby. We are fine. Life is going on well. It was tough for a couple of weeks, but thank God for my mom, and thank God for friends and family. My sister was around. Jacqueline came around. Hey, no.
Oh, he comes as we more so. Oh, Jeff and Mama will
So thank you all, friends and family, well wishers, for coming to see me, for your gifts. We are so grateful. And a big thank you to my husband. He's been amazing. What would I do without you? Thank you all for watching my videos and commenting and liking and sharing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Yavas Lulu. Obedience. Baka. And remember, be safe. See ya.